This is all so tiresome. All so freaking tiresome. People don't learn. They just don't. They don't learn. Xbox Game Studios' upcoming Civilization competitor, Aura, History Untold, features non-binary leaders. You know, historical figures, real historical figures like Joan of Arc and Elizabeth the first and second and third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 19th, Cleopatra, Nefertiti. You know, actual people who did exist. Let's just make some non-binary. You know, because Joan of Arc, you know, she dressed as a man. She dressed as a man to serve her country, but she dressed as a man, so she must be either trans or non-binary. Or maybe she dressed as a man to serve her country. Kind of like Mulan did, because they didn't let women into the military. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Ara, History Untold, developed by Oxide Games and published by Xbox Game Studios, which aims to be a competitor to Civilization, will feature a so-called non-binary leader. Nefertiti. Titi. The game, which releases later this month, features a Game Pass trophy called Barbenheimer that requires players to bombard cities 100 times as a female or non-binary leader. It's unclear which historical figure. All of them. Spoiler alert, it's going to be all of them. Historical figure Oxide Games is turning into its so-called non-binary individual. In its Gamescom showcase, the company revealed a number of historical figures that will be leaders, including Sappho, Xochitl, Wu Zetian, Nefertiti, Elizabeth I, Joan of Arc, Otto von Bismarck, Yasunduea, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and Shaka Khan. Other leaders confirmed to the game: Alexander the Great, and just, you know, I'm not listing every. Nicholas Copernicus, Julius Leopold the First, Nefertiti. So these are It's going to be George Washington, Catherine the Great, Alexander the Great. I mean, him I could understand. People already thought that he was a little he was badass though. So not like it really mattered. Gee. I'm sure this is the guy doing the interview. Gee. Looking great there, guys. Uh As for how the game approaches history, the company's narrative designer and historian Grace Rojas explained, "In my eyes, history is about storytelling. It's a common misconception that history is strictly about the facts because who cares about facts? These are the same people who are trying to convince everyone else that there's more than two genders and that men can get pregnant, despite science and facts saying otherwise. These people do not care about facts. They care more about feelings. But we need to make a game that caters to people rather than providing historical facts." And they wonder why this shit fails. Or in the case of a game like ours, the victors and the losers, but history goes way beyond that. History, it's not just facts, it's a feeling. History is whatever you feel it is. She added, To truly understand history, we must also be willing to dive deep into the past and acknowledging and examining pieces of the story that can often be overlooked, and how the information contributed to the development of the world as we know it. And when we don't have that information, we'll just make shit up. Like, oh, well, this person dressed like a man, so they must be non-binary or transgender. Despite the fact that women weren't allowed in the military, and she just did it to, serve her country. Nope, she was definitely transgender. Definitely non-binary. Roaz continued, another piece, which was key to our approach for this game, was ensuring that the information we presented to players is as accurate and unbiased as possible. So do you know for a fact that there were non-binary leaders? Or is this your fucking headcanon because you fucking weirdos need to see yourself in these characters? Despite the fact that they're not characters, they're based on real people, their names, their identities. Accurate and unbiased. Then keep them as they were. If they were, said to be straight, keep them straight. Unless these leaders were 100% confirmed to be non-binary, which wasn't even a fucking thing at the time. Keep them, and then it's not unbiased and accurate. You're doing whatever the hell you want for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I do want to acknowledge thought that history itself can be biased for a variety of reasons, but we work tirelessly to ensure that we present to the world accurate and respectful representations of the cultures and people we decided to highlight, except for changing people's sexualities for no reason, to something that's, modern. Again, they're catering to the modern audience when the modern audience aren't even playing games like this. And it's been proven time and time again that the gamers and the audience they should be wanting aren't going to play this. Because they're too busy buying games and playing games that don't push a fucking agenda. To do this, we worked with a mix of primary and secondary sources. We consulted with experts, just like with, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft. They worked closely with experts on the subject matter and received feedback from folks who have ties to the regions we cover and so much more. Yeah, because there's never going to be a bias in there, is there? Just like it was with Shadows, they're trying to push like, oh yeah, Yasuke was a really important figure. Because they're liberals. These experts are liberals. Of course they're going to say that this person was important. So these people that they're working with are liberals. They're going to agree with whatever these people want to push out and be like, oh yeah, well, we have writings and documents suggesting that this was in fact the case. Yes, there were many non-binary leaders back then. Many of them well documented. No, they weren't. Stop fucking lying. We're fucking lying. Speaking specifically on the leaders that they chose, Rojas was asked if there was any that she was particularly excited to include. She responded, during the election process, we were really stoked about leaders like Benito Juarez, Sappho, and Sejong the Great. Explain, every leader's personality traits are driven by research into their real-world history, and each leader's unique leader abilities speaks to one of their great accomplishment as leaders. The initial relationship between leaders are impacted by how much they may or may not have in common with each other, and also impacts the way their AI chooses to pursue prestige and ultimately victory. Ultimately, we're trying to render a living world with authentic No, you're not. No, you're not. That's all? 2 comments? Well, I think it's a fairly new piece here. Does it say what time it was posted? No. Nope. Doesn't say what time. Just it was posted today. Ara. Oh, we got 3 comments now. This is gonna keep happening for a while. There's so much of this in the making since 2015. It's gonna be flop after flop with mental ill MC for at least 1 year more. Oh geez, there's no such thing that's a code term. You're either a male or female. Yeah. Another piece, yes, being as accurate and as unbiased as possible. And yet you're adding a fake Tumblr gender that was made up a decade ago so bored and entitled terminally online people could feel validated. Do you fucking people hear yourselves? But yeah, they don't learn. They don't learn. I mean, I don't know if people still play these kinds of games, um, but how hard is it? Just make a game people want to play, leave out the non-binary, freaking gender bullshit, and people will play it. Because you're catering to a very, very, very small portion of the base, and you're pushing like 99.9% of people are not going to play it. And then when you guys fail, oh, you're just a bunch of phobes and isms. Well, we're the ones telling you how to make money here. Stop with the diversity, stop with equity, stop with an inclusion, especially when it comes to real world people, real world historical figures. Unless you know 100% that they were non-binary, don't just be like, well, Thorsis, they. Joan of Arc, well, she dressed as a man, so she was... No. She dressed as a man so she could serve her country because she couldn't join the military. Just like Mulan. So, even back in my day, if a girl dressed like a boy, she wasn't transgender. She was a tomboy. Her parents were not rushing her off to get her fucking breast cut off and started on hormones and whatever because, oh my god, she's wearing boy clothes. She's transgender. No, she was a tomboy. But people today are fucking stupid. If a boy's playing with a fucking Barbie, suddenly he's transgender. So, these people are so desperate for validation. These people are so desperate to see themselves. These people are so desperate to push this fucking bullcrap that they forget that the most basic part of a video game is to be fun and enjoyable. But sure, take the historical figures, make them transgender, do whatever the fuck you want with them, and then when the game fails, you only have yourselves to blame. We are telling you how to make money. In fact, movie-wise, Inside Out 2 toned down on the fucking gay bullshit. And what do you know? It made money. It made money because it's like, that's what people want. Leave out the bullshit agenda and just make a good movie. I know. Mind-blowing concept. Leave out the crap that only caters to a small percent of people and you make money. Crazy, right? Anyway, yeah, it's gonna fail. No one's gonna want... We're so tired of this bull crap. We're so tired. You're taking historical figures and just headcanon freaking Tumblr bullshit. Just stop. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye.